Hey guys, welcome in. It's Brad with College SportsCast. I am here this afternoon to do the weekend wrap up show, week 6.
We executed.
I heard a fan offer free Dippin' Dots if I blew it.
Wanted to have some fun, execute.
I had bombs.
Stay as a team, execute, give 100%.
Dippin' Dots sound good.
All right, guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast. Welcome in. Like I said, I'm here to do the week 6 weekend wrap up show. And there was a bunch of action yesterday, and we will get to it. First of all, we are presented by the Fanboys, and we are featured on Let's Talk Sports, Sideline Sports, the Real Fresh Channel, Stadium Rent, and on WSBN TV Channel 30. So there was lots of action in college football yesterday. Of course, one of the biggest games that I was interested in was last night, and that was Georgia and Kentucky. That did not turn out the way that I thought it would, and I'll be the first to say that. I did not expect to win, but I expect to show a little better than what they did. But we will get to all of that. What's up, Above the Ring? Above the Ring is with us again. I appreciate you being on and commenting with us. So just want to say what's up. And so the first talking point that I want to talk about is basically this. So this weekend, it looks like that it was all about the haves and the have-nots in college football for the last 10, 12, 15 years. If you look around the whole landscape of what happened yesterday in college football, there's so much that has changed in college football as far as the landscape and maneuvering and conferences and money and NIL and transfer portal, and there is so much that's changed. But when it comes down to it, we still have the haves and the have-nots. And, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And, start out yesterday, you have Texas and Oklahoma, for years and years now. Texas is there. Texas is close. Texas beat Alabama earlier this year, and, everybody's thinking, oh, wow, this might be Texas's year. And here comes the Oklahoma Sooners, who have just 9 times out of 10 had their number. Dylan Gabriel yesterday, with 1:15 on the clock, orchestrates a drive all the way, all the way down the field, puts it in the end zone with 15 seconds to go, and beats Texas 34-30. Now, I'll give Texas credit. I mean, they were in the game. They actually took the lead late with a field goal. But they also were down 10 at one time. So what I'm saying is Oklahoma 9 times out of 10, like I said, has had their number over the years, and Texas has just been, right there. It's so close and so close. And they're still top 10 in the country right now, and they're still going to have a chance. However, they are behind the 8 ball now in the Big 12. The Big 12 does not look as strong as it did last year. And because of that, then, I don't know how many opportunities that Oklahoma's going to have to lose 2 games. they would have to lose 2 games now because they would own the tiebreaker over Texas. And I'm not saying that's completely out of the realm of possibility, but as far as being the number 1 seed, but likely Texas will get another shot at Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game later this year. And if that happens, maybe the have-nots can jump the haves, because most of the time Oklahoma has ended up and had their number. Texas beat them badly last year, but it really didn't matter because both teams was like 8-5 and 6-7 or whatever Oklahoma was last year at the end. It really didn't matter because neither team was right there, and neither team was even in the Big 12 championship. So it really didn't matter last year. But usually Oklahoma is right there, and in Venables' first season last year he wasn't, and now he has them right back in the thick of things. They are 6-0. They beat Texas now, and are in the driver's seat. So there's one case where you have the haves and the have-nots, and then later in the day we had Alabama and Texas A&M. It was in College Station, and over the years, especially the last since A&M's been in the SEC, the last 12, 13 years, they've been right there. They've been real close. Everybody, you get your hopes up. You think Texas A&M is there, and then you play a game like Alabama versus Texas A&M. And Alabama threw it all over the field yesterday. Jalen Milroe had 300 and some yards and 3 touchdowns, I think, and threw the ball all over the field and was ahead quite a bit bigger than what the score was. They beat them 26-20 in College Station, which is a tough place to play. 110,000 screaming fans. That's why they call it the 12th man, and it's a tough place to play. And that was Jalen Milroe's second start against A&M. He actually started against them last year when Bryce Young was hurt. So, excuse me, this was his second time starting against them, and he looked way, way better. Alabama looks way better. And again, we have a situation where we have the haves and we have the have-nots. Kentucky, Georgia. Over the last 8 years or so, Kentucky has climbed a ladder and looked like they have some momentum and look like they can, compete a little bit. And every time we go up against a top caliber team, especially Georgia, to be quite honest with you, they get knocked back several pegs. Last night was embarrassing. Georgia is capable of embarrassing everybody. They embarrassed the shit out of TCU last year in the championship game. Kentucky was a smidget better last night than that, but not much. Kentucky beat themselves early in the game. I think Kentucky made Georgia look even better. That Georgia has not looked like that this year. They have played South Carolina, won 24-14, had to come from behind at home, exactly where they played last night. They had to come from behind and beat Auburn last week, 27-20 in Jordan-Hare, but they have not looked like they looked last night. Kentucky, the first 2 offensive drives was pushed back and second and third and longs because of stupid penalties. Jagger Burton needs to go and sit for a while. What he did face down to the back of defender, trying to, after the play, dig him in the ground, hit him in the ground. It's uncalled for, and he needs to sit. But here's the deal. Georgia's the real deal. They have been for the last 3 years now. And nobody can beat them. The only team that has beat them in 3 years is Alabama in the SEC championship game in 2021. They are now 35-1 in the last 36 games over the last 2.5 years. So, nobody can beat them. Mason Cross is on with me, and he says, Boomer Sooner. They got it done, Mason. And again, with the Georgia-Kentucky, we have the haves and the have-nots. Miami, every year, Miami gets talked about this and that, and they looked the part for a little bit. And then last night, thank goodness for the Miami Hurricanes. That's all I'm going to say. Because they took some heat off the Kentucky Wildcats last night. And, what in the world? I thought the job that Mark Stoops did last night was terrible, but that call was about as dumb of a call that a coach could make. 44 seconds left, and they are hiking the ball to give it to the back, up 3, and the team has no timeouts. No timeouts. And they hand it to the back, and the back gets stripped. Georgia Tech recovers it with 26 seconds to go, runs 2 plays, scores a touchdown, and beats them. That's one of the biggest blunders that I've ever seen. I just turned 49 last weekend, and I'll be honest with you, that's one of the biggest blunders I've ever seen. So they are clearly a have-not. That's a have-not moment if I ever seen one. I'm going to be honest with you. Notre Dame has, been right there all along, and you think they're there. You think they have a shot. They've even got, a chance to play for a championship here and there or into the playoffs or over the years, but they can never get over the hump. And to be quite honest with you, Louisville, over the last 10, 12, 15 years, has won more big games than not. And has had a Heisman Trophy winner, has had Sugar Bowl winners, has had 11, maybe even a 12-game win season. I know they've had some 11, 10, and 11s, maybe even a 12-game, winning season. And most of the time, I'll be honest, Notre Dame is talked about and they're right there, but they just can't get out of their way. And I'm going to call them a have-not over the last 10 or 12, 15 years. They just can't get out of the way. Ohio State yesterday is a have. They were down early in that game, 10 points, and come back and rock them by like 20. They covered the spread. The spread was 19.5, I think, and they covered the spread. They come back and beat Maryland, an undefeated team who had looked great, started out strong against them, and you've got Ohio State's the have, and Maryland is the have-not. I can go down the board over and over and over from yesterday. LSU, Missouri. LSU has looked like they're down. They're not there. Missouri's looked like they're up. Missouri had a lead. late in the game, looked like they're going to start of the fourth quarter. They're up 5. Looks like they might be able to pull this game out. They're 5-0. They've looked like a have. LSU, guess what, is the have. Missouri's the have not. That's my take from yesterday. I think that sums up the whole weekend, to be quite honest with you, is the haves and the have-nots. So the AP poll come out about 2 hours ago, and I'm gonna do a little rundown of the AP poll. But before I do that, hang on just a minute. Before I do the AP poll, guys, I am going to do a little promo for my man, Howie Fresh. We are featured. This show, the weekend wrap-up show, is featured on his Sunday lineup on the Real Fresh channel. And this is Howie Fresh talking about it.
Hey, I am Hal Fresh here to tell you about the Real Fresh channel. That's right, youtube.com/the Real Fresh channel. We are a network aiming to bring you various content each and every day, different types of podcasts, different type of content, anything from college SportsCast and fresh takes for some sports. We also got You Want to Do What? We got the Wrestling Corner. We got live stream. Just go over to youtube.com/the Real Fresh channel and hit us up today. Thank you for checking it out. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys, that's my man, Howie Fresh. We are featured on his channel, and he'll be back a little bit later in the show for one other thing as well. The AP poll. The new poll come out today. I was shocked and stunned to see that Kentucky Wildcats was still in the AP poll. I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. I was shocked. I was talking to some friends online, and I was like, wow. Put it in, typed it in. Kentucky is still ranked in the 24th in the AP poll. So that's the first thing I want to say. After that showing last night, I thought Kentucky was going to be out of here and just not even be close to being in the AP poll, to be quite honest with you. Georgia gains quite a bit of first-place votes. They're still first, of course. They had 37 last week. They have 50 this week. They're number 1. Michigan looked really good. Is number 2. They have 11 first-place votes. Ohio State, I said, come back and beat Maryland, an undefeated team, by 20-plus. Covered their spread. They have 1 first-place vote, and Florida State is number 4 with 1 first-place vote. Oklahoma, the Sooners come in at number 5 after beating Texas. They jumped 7 spots, I think. I think they were 12 last week. Jumped in front of Penn State. Penn State is 6. Washington is 7. Oregon is 8. Texas drops to 9. I think they dropped 5 spots. USC drops again. We'll get to them in a little bit. They are now 10. Alabama is 11. North Carolina, who looked really good yesterday, moves up to 12. Ole Miss is 13. Louisville is 14 after beating Notre Dame 33-13 last night, by the way. Oregon State is 15. Utah is 16. Duke is 17, who had a bye week. UCLA, who beat Washington State, is 18. Washington State and Tennessee are actually tied for 19. Notre Dame fell to 21, dropped 11 spots. LSU is up to 22 in the AP poll. Kansas climbs back in the AP poll after their big win over UCF yesterday. And Kentucky stays in at number 24 And somehow Miami stays in at 25. Yes, I know they're 4-1. I know Kentucky's 5-1. But those blunders and the way that they looked last night, I don't know. I mean, I'm a Kentucky fan, and I'll be honest with you, I was shocked. I was surprised. Now, I will say this: they're 5-1. They, last week beat the fire out of Florida, who was back in the polls. I'm not saying Florida's great. Florida covered their spread against Vandy yesterday and beat them 20+. And covered their spread. So, they did the job that they were supposed to. So we'll see what happens with Florida the rest of the year. But I am happy to see that Kentucky has a little bit more respect than that, because that's what the game was for me last night anyway. It wasn't really about winning that game. I didn't really think that we were going to go to Athens, Georgia, and beat the Georgia Bulldogs, the two-time defending champs, who are still undefeated. That's not exactly what I thought. I just wanted to be respectful, look respectful, and gain some respect. We did not do that under any circumstance. But maybe what we have done has gained a little bit of respect because we stayed in the poll at 24. And like I said, somehow Miami stays in at 25 after one of the biggest blunders I've ever seen in college football, ever. All right. So an interesting stat about the AP poll: the top 6 schools by appearance ever in the AP men's college basketball poll are all included in the top 25 of the AP football poll this week. Week 7, 2023. It is the first time in the 87-year history of the AP football poll that all 6 of these teams are ranked inside the football poll. Again, these are the top 6 teams by appearance ever in the AP men's college basketball poll: Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, UCLA, and Louisville. That's the top 6. And it's the first time ever that all 6 of those schools in the 87-year history of the AP poll has been ranked in the college football poll. Louisville is 12th. No, North Carolina is 12th. Louisville is 14th. Duke is 17th. UCLA is 18th. Kansas is 23, and Kentucky is 24. Just a little tidbit that I thought was interesting about the AP poll. It is the 17th straight week that Georgia has been number 1 in the AP poll. That is now tied for the 4th longest streak ever, tied with Florida State. They are now 17 straight weeks that they've been number 1. Next up on the list is an 18-win streak by USC from 72 to 73. And then Miami had one that's 21 straight weeks in a row from 2001 and 2002. The record is 33 straight by USC. And that was the run with Bush and all of them, and from 2003 to the final poll of 2005. But that is the 4th longest streak. So just a couple of tidbits about the AP poll there. Moving out of the AP poll was Fresno State and Missouri. Moving in was UCLA and Kansas. Pac-12 has 7 schools in the Week 7 AP poll. SEC has 6. ACC 5. Big 10 3. Big 12 3. And Independent is 1, and that is Notre Dame at number 21. So that is a look at the Week 7 AP poll. And I told you guys that Mr. Fresh, Howie Fresh, is going to make an appearance again. This is him promoting his Doobie energy drinks.
And I just want to shout out our newest partner, W Energy Drinks. You know, energy drink, you get the powder, you mix it up at home, but it's better than any of that coffee, any of that energy drink you get. There's no crash, no jitters, no angst. They have a patented neural factor. That's the star of the show. They got brain food. I'm talking taurine, tyrosine, glutamine, more. They only have the best amino acids. Only the best brain benefiting vitamins. I'm talking B3, B12, vitamin C, much more. I'm also talking 150 milligrams of caffeine, so just like your energy, it gives you that kick. There's no sugar, no maltodextrin, no fake colors, no dyes, no fillers, no BS. You can go to w.gg, make sure you use the code REALFRESH, 2 words, code REALFRESH. Get 10% off for your order and support the show. Or if you'd rather just copy paste the link from the description.
All right, guys, that was Howie Fresh with Dubby Energy Drink. Check them out. Use his code REALFRESH and boost your energy. Everybody's looking for a boost of energy nowadays. Life is 24/7 pretty much. So everybody's looking for a boost of energy. It's all natural. Check it out. Again, that's Howie Fresh. Good friend of the show. All right. So now we're going to go to the college football scoreboard. Start out with Wednesday. The week actually started Wednesday. Jacksonville State beat MTSU 45-30. And New Mexico State beat FIU 34-17. On Thursday night, Western Kentucky beat La Tech 35-28. And Liberty beat Sam Houston 21-16. On Friday night, there was 2 pretty big games. Kansas State lost to Oklahoma State 29-21 at Oklahoma State, and Nebraska beat Illinois 20-7. Saturday started out Oklahoma beating Texas 34-30. Ohio State beat Maryland 37-17. Like I said, covered the spread. LSU had a pick 6 late, beat Missouri 49-39 at Missouri. That was their first loss of the season. Already talked about the have and have-nots there in all 3 of those games. Boston College beat Army 27-24. Mississippi State beat Western Michigan 41-28. Wisconsin beat Rutgers 24-13. Virginia beat William and Mary 27-13. Toledo 41, Massachusetts 24. NC State and Marshall had a wild game, 48-41. NC State, they had a new quarterback and actually scored some points in that game up and down the field, looks like. UTSA beat Temple 49-34. Buffalo beat Central Michigan 37-13. UCLA beat number 13 Washington State 25-17. Actually, Washington State had a lead in that game, and UCLA come back and won at home. That was at home for them, and is a big win. And they are now back into the AP poll. Northwestern beat Howard 23-20. I think that gives Northwestern at least 2 wins this year. Florida State beat Virginia Tech 39-17. However, they did not cover. I had them at 24 on DraftKings. I'm not sure where it ended up, but I think it was above 22. Alabama beat Texas A&M 26-20 at Texas A&M. North Carolina demolished a Syracuse team that 2 weeks ago was undefeated, 40-7. Iowa beat Purdue at home 20-14. And they had a new quarterback in, so them getting a win at home was probably good. Clemson beat Wake Forest 17-12. If you ask me, it's kind of unimpressive, but it was at home, and they beat them 17-12. They were up 17-6, I think. But anyways, Navy beat North Texas 27-24. Louisiana beat Texas State 34-30. Texas State have been playing really well. Louisiana has as well. That was a good game to watch. Eastern Michigan beat Ball State 24-10. Miami of Ohio beat Bowling Green 27-0. Ohio beat Kent State 42-17. Northern Illinois beat Akron 55-14. Vandy was beaten by Florida 38-14. That's why I said Florida played their role yesterday and done what they needed to do and supposed to do. Kansas demolished Central Florida, UCF 51-22 at Kansas yesterday. UAB demolished South Florida 56-35. Troy beat the heck out of Arkansas State 37-3. That's good to see. Good to see John Summerall do that. UConn won a game over Rice, who had been looking pretty good, 38-31. FAU beat Tulsa 20-17. Colorado hung on and late and beat Arizona at Arizona State 27-24 last night. Of course, Georgia demolished Kentucky 51-13. South Alabama beat UL Monroe 55-7. Old Dominion beat Southern Miss 17-13. Michigan demolished Minnesota at Minnesota 52-10. There's a have and a have not. Minnesota has had some 9-4 seasons and has looked the part and looked like they're going to be able to get over that level and over that hump, and just can't seem to do it as well. Ole Miss 20, Ole Miss 27, Arkansas 20. Louisville beat Notre Dame 33-20. Georgia Tech beat Miami 23-20 last night, in that where they should have kneeled down. I mean, Georgia Tech had no timeouts. Miami had the ball, 42 seconds left when they snapped the ball. The play clock's 40 seconds, guys. Just kneel. I never seen anything like it. Wyoming and Fresno State played a game. That was a really, really good game. Both of these teams are really good teams. Wyoming come out on top at home, 24-19, knocking Fresno State out of the 24 spot in the AP poll. I'm actually surprised that Wyoming is not in the AP poll. I really thought that they might have a shot at it. They were tied with Texas 10-10, second quarter, late second quarter, I think. They're 5-1. This is a really good Wyoming team. Texas Tech beat the crap out of Baylor in Waco, 39-14. Iowa State beat TCU 27-14. TCU is now 3-3. Utah State beat Colorado State 44-24. Boise beat San Jose State 35-27. Oregon State beat California in a shootout 52-40. And last but almost least, USC hung on and beat Arizona at home, guys, in 3 overtimes, 43-41, a 2-point conversion. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This USC team does not look like a challenger, not at all. They dropped again from 9 to 10. They had been up to about 5 and dropped to, like 8, and then they dropped to 9. Now they've dropped to 10. They're still undefeated because they are sneaking by in some of these games. 2 weeks ago, Arizona State had the ball. It was in Arizona State with about 6 minutes to go and had a chance to drive and got stalled out. And then USC took the ball down and beat them by 2 touchdowns at the end of the game. Last week, they had to hang on for dear life against Colorado in Boulder and won 48-41. And then this week back at home in Los Angeles, this Arizona team takes them to 3 overtimes. And they sneak out a win by a 2-point conversion, 43-41. And that is the full Week 6 college football scoreboard. All right, guys. So with that said, I'm going to do a little message here about True Victory. Hey guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast. We're presented by the Fanboys. I want you guys to check out my brand new Victorious tee from True Victory. Scan that QR code, takes you straight to the website. They're founded by U.S. military veterans. True Victory is a sportswear and streetwear brand dedicated to building everyday champions on and off the field. Our purpose is to transform lives and elevate humanity through the power and unity of sports, positive stories, and serving others. Again, check out that QR code. Use our code, TheFanboys, for a 15% discount. And get a great tee. Man, it's comfortable. And remember, they're part sports, part street, and always true. All right, man, that guy's handsome. All right, guys. So that is True Victory. Check them out. They do have great stuff. They are a great cause. They're veteran owned and first responder owned, and they have a great cause that they're trying to be there for. And check them out. They have great stuff. And Paul Skeens is there, True Victory, as an ambassador, and other great sports people. So check them out. All right, guys. Biggest surprise from yesterday. I'm gonna call it Kentucky, to be quite honest with you. It's to me, it's not Georgia. It was Kentucky. The way they played. 2 of the first 3 drives, they had drive-ending penalties. The third drive for Georgia, we had stopped and had a severely after the play late just Deion Walker on a batted down ball. They picked it up and tried to act like it was live, and then Deion Walker just turns and like slams somebody. And they call a flag on that, give them a first down. I mean, if those three things don't happen at the beginning of that game, Kentucky was driving in the first two drives, and they drove and scored a touchdown in their third drive. And then they could stop them in Georgia's third drive. Then, maybe there is a different tone in that game than what it wound up to be. So I think the way they started and doing some of the stuff, self-inflicted crap, on top of that, in one of those drives, Devin Leary just flat out missed a wide open Tavion Robinson. Probably overthrew him by 7 yards. And there was literally nobody within 8 yards of him. He was wide open. You put that on the spot where it's supposed to be, and it's possible that that's a touchdown. So there was some stuff early in that game that definitely could have changed, not necessarily the outcome, but it could have changed the trajectory of how the game went for sure. Like I said, I didn't have Kentucky winning that game anyway. I just thought that we would go there and compete a little bit, and we had some chances early on and just absolutely tripped over ourselves, to be quite honest. So that's what I'm going to say as far as that. And then real quick, guys, I'm going to take a look ahead at Week 7. There are four ranked matchups in Week 7. And we have number 7 and number 8, a top 10 matchup, Washington. Oregon at Washington next week, which will be a really, really good game, should be. And on top of that, that game could have some real meaning to the winner of the Pac-12. Then also we have USC at Notre Dame next week. We're going to find out if either one of these teams are, going to be up there in the top 10 or 12, or deserve to be up there in the top 10 or 12, because the way they're playing right now, I'm not sure that either team do, but they're both ranked. USC is 10, Notre Dame is 21, and that's a big game. Then number 25, Miami goes to North Carolina, number 12. In the ACC, North Carolina is still undefeated. Miami's 4-1, I think. They had a week off. So we'll see what happens with that game. And then number 18, UCLA plays at number 15, Oregon State. The Beavers are for real. They're a good team. And playing at Oregon State is always a tough place to play, and UCLA is coming off of a big win over Washington State. Cameron Ward did not look great, and that's the first time that he has not looked great this past week. So we have those four matchups as far as ranked matchups for Week 7. And then I'm going to scroll through and see. Wow, Georgia plays Vanderbilt next week. That should be a real good game. Michigan plays Indiana. Wow. Ohio State plays Purdue. Boy, these are some powerhouse. Syracuse plays Florida State. Arkansas and Alabama play, but Arkansas has lost 4 in a row. Texas A&M and Tennessee. There's a game that's worth talking about. Texas A&M and Tennessee play each other. It's in Knoxville. Texas A&M 4-2. Tennessee is 4-1. Kansas goes to Oklahoma State. Should win, I would think. Florida goes to South Carolina. Florida's 4-2. South Carolina's 2-3. That'll be a big game in the SEC East. Not in the national picture. Iowa and Wisconsin play. That'll be a big game in the Big Ten because both of these teams are in the other division. They still have a division in the Big Ten. So this year, this is the last year, I think, of the division in the Big Ten, and Iowa and Wisconsin is opposite of Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. So the winner of this game will have an advantage to get to the Big Ten championship game. So that'll be a pretty big game. Auburn plays LSU at LSU. Missouri and Kentucky play next week. They're both 5-1. Missouri just fell out of the poll, and Kentucky stayed in at 24 with both having losses this past week. NC State plays Duke 4-2, 4-1, and that's about it that I'm going to talk about and go through here. So one last thing here that I want to show you guys is how to find us on WSBN TV. So here you go, guys. Hey, guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast, and we're presented by the Fanboys. We are now a part of WSBN TV on Channel 30. It's World Sports Broadcasting Network, a streaming service TV, and we are excited to be on that. We want you guys to know how to find us. Go to Boxcast app, download the app. And once you do, you can find us on Apple TV, Roku TV, Fire Stick as well. So we cover college sports, of course. We talk about certain teams and hot topics and news. We do game day pick'ems, and we do week wrap-up shows as well as special guests. So we would love to have you tune in and watch our shows on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. That's how to find us on WSBN TV, World Sports Broadcasting Network. All right. This has been the weekend wrap-up show for week 6 of college football. Let's see. Nick Botkins is with us. And he says, I was hoping Kentucky would win. I was just hoping Kentucky would look like, a challenging team or a team that could, hold their own in Georgia, to be honest with you. And Mizzou did have a heartbreaking loss. Was driving late, had a pick six, that was down 3, lost by 10. But they had a lead and gave up a touchdown to be down 3. And they didn't have a whole lot of time and was trying to force it and threw a pick six that absolutely ended it. And they got beat 49-39. So I agree, Bodkins. It was a heartbreaking loss. All right, man. Our next show is going to be Tuesday night, October 10th at 8 p.m. I did not change the 3 to 8. I do that every time. on this. But anyway, guys, it's going to be at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's going to be our college football Big Fuss show, week 7. I know that Hammonds will be with me. The last 2 shows I've kind of done these solos, so I know at least Hammonds will be with me on Tuesday night. And join us for our Big Fuss show. We will do some hot topics and our Pick 6 segment and our No Fly Zone segment. We'll have a little bit of fun and do a little debates and some of the hot topics and stuff for college football, maybe even college sports. But that will be, again, Tuesday night, October 10th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, guys, I appreciate you joining me. Again, this has been the College SportsCast weekend wrap-up show for week 6. Thanks, guys.